hello. Welcome to another episode of Film Creative's podcast, Voices. I'm Walter Talens, the Vice President and your host for today. And this is my lovely co-host,
Arlyn Dela Pena.
And we'll be having our guest today, Aina Dumlao. She is a filmmaker, actress, producer extraordinaire.
Yes.
She's amazing. And so how you been? It's been a while since I last saw you.
I've been traveling a little bit. Yeah, I just got back from Texas, so, you know.
Wow.
Hook 'em.
Where in Texas did you go?
I went to Austin.
Ooh.
Yes.
It's been a while since I went there.
Yeah.
Do you have some Texas barbecue?
Oh my God, I'm barbecued out. All my clothes smell of barbecue right now.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
I know, right? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was good. It's good. Weather was all right, a little bit cooler, but, you know, not too bad. I miss that LA sunshine.
You been working on any projects right now? Like,
You know, I got a few up my sleeve.
oh yeah?
Yeah. Still working on towards a commercial that hopefully will air nationally in the Philippines.
Ooh.
And then I did a feature film voiceover recently. What else? Have a few skits coming up.
Nice.
Yeah, a few shorts. Fingers crossed. We'll see.
And just recently, like I sent you a photo on Facebook. Like I was watching Will and Grace.
Yes.
And like a really flash frame came by, and I was like, wait, I think I saw someone in the background.
You know, why am I always at the bar? I don't know. I get casted to be on the bar.
So the
Yeah.
AD thinks like, oh, there's an alcoholic.
Yes, I think so. Or they're like, she looks stressed. I think she could use a few drinks. Yes.
Do they give you guys? They don't give you guys.
Nah,
really
it's all fake.
Unless you
Yep.
slip it in like in a little flask. Yeah.
I mean, I tried. But, you know, it was cool. It was cool to be on set with, for Will and Grace. And I was doing background. And just to watch them rehearse. And, man, they're so talented, so funny. So it was really, really cool to see all of that.
That's awesome. Yeah. So it was just, for all you guys don't know, like a lot of people, actors and just LA locals, they do background work aside from doing like trying to do auditions and all that stuff. And it does pay the bills for the most part. And it's just fun being on set, isn't it, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a great learning experience to just see how the big studios do things and to be able to witness all these like historic shows. I mean, Will and Grace, like they took such a big time off, and then all of a sudden they revitalized the show, and yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to watch that. It's insane. So, I mean, that's the goal, right? We need to get a Filipino sitcom up there someday.
Yeah, like hopefully we'll get that. We got fresh off the boat, and then hopefully we'll continue with just snowball from there and have more people of color sitcoms and TV shows.
If you had a Filipino sitcom show, what would you call it?
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot. Like that's hard because there's so much that goes into a title. Like,
I definitely would want it to be a telenovela, like a funny telenovela.
ooh,
I don't know a name though.
I don't know.
I'd have to think about that.
I mean, like you could probably do a telenovela just with here in PwC, like the stuff that goes on here.
Well, can we do it in IKEA? Have you seen those things?
Oh yeah, by Randall Park did that with his team. That was great.
Yeah, we should do that.
And speaking of, we're going to bring our guest here soon, and I just think it's so appropriate that we are here at PwC, an organization that tries to help out immigrants working in the domestic help field or healthcare and all that stuff. And if you guys get a chance, visit their website at pwcsc.org. And just learn more about them. And it's just not ironic, but it's just great because our guest today, Aina's just got a film called Diwa, right? So
Yep, she has a feature film coming up, and it tackles a lot of those types of immigration laws and immigration struggles. So I'm looking forward to talking to her about that.
Cool. Without further ado, actually, let's go ahead and bring Aina out, and she'll be right out after these short messages.
Today's episode brought to you by the good folks at Filipino Worker Center. From the heart of historic Filipino town, PwC focuses on providing programs that help meet the immediate needs of workers and their families, while at the same time building their leadership to take collective action for long-lasting change. Film Creative presents the 4th annual Hollywood Actors Panel, a panel discussion and networking event featuring our special guest industry panelists who represent the craft of acting across the board. 2018 industry guest panelists include John Briones, recently played Modesta Cunanan in FX American Horror Story. Ginger Gonzaga, actress, currently plays Dana in NBC comedy Champions. Reggie Lee, actor, played Sergeant Wu for 6 seasons on NBC's Grimm. Ellen D. Williams, actress, currently plays Nicole in the Emmy Award-winning FX comedy Baskets. Join us Saturday, June 9th, 2018 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Filipino Workers Center at 153 Glendale Boulevard, Los Angeles, California 90026. Get your tickets on Eventbrite. Look up 4th Annual Hollywood Actors Panel. See you there.
And we're back. We are here with Aina Dumlao, filmmaker,
Thank
extraordinaire,
Oh, I try to be.
assassin.
Next roll.
No FBI, no, she's not. She's just a filmmaker. But not just any filmmaker. You are an awesome filmmaker who is doing, creating a film about social justice and social inequality in in our society today, right?
It's titled Diwa. Thanks for helping me segue into it. Yes, it's a social justice film about a Filipino woman who came here as an undocumented immigrant, and there's things that happen to her in the story that leads her down the path of wanting to end her life, and that's kind of like the meat of the story.
It's such a it's such a
It's a comedy. No.
whoa! Did not see that coming.
Dark.
Romantic
It's a
comedy.
dark comedy. It's British humor. No, because before you came on, we were talking about how cool it was, the fact that you're here, and again, we're at PwC, and that's kind of like they do a lot of activism for people in that situation. Whether it's not just Filipinos, but just immigrants in general. So it's kind of cool that we're doing that here. Like, how did you come up with that concept?
I actually was the lead in a short film. I was just an actress in it. I wasn't part of the production team on it, but I played a modern day slave, for lack of a better term. Like, it's based on several real stories where there was a woman that they found in Orange County that happened to be enslaved for almost a decade by this Arab American family. Like, they took her passport, they took all that. So after I became a lead in that film, like, it kind of opened me and my partner up, Brew Muller. It opened us up to kind of like an entire world of stories that were untold. So it led us down the path of like, okay, what other stories are there that we can tell, that we can give a voice to? So after, like, I kind of like went down a rabbit hole of stories that landed us on an ACLU article about female night workers who are undocumented being the most vulnerable members of this society. So when I saw that article, I saw like a specific article where an assistant district attorney in Virginia, I believe, where there was like a woman, an undocumented immigrant who was seeking out help, kind of like there's this thing called the U visa that protects undocumented victims from perpetrators, that it kind of like gives them like a temporary stay, like gives them a temporary 3-year visa for as long as they cooperate with law enforcement, right, in filing a case against the perpetrators. So when she went to this district attorney and said, okay, can you help me? The district attorney, when he found out that the criminal, the one victimizing her, was also Latino, he said, no, this is not for Latinos on Latino crimes. So he sent her away and threatened
That's crazy.
Sent her away, threatened to kick her out of the country, and never helped her.
Wow.
So that kind of like opened up the doors for us to write the story about Diwa, because Filipinos, there's a lot of overseas Filipino workers around the world that
Mm-hmm.
makes up a big chunk of the GDP of the country. So it's like, okay, well, this is the untold story that's knocking on our
And I feel like
doors.
that it's a common story if you know a lot of people who have immigrated to the U.S. or have families, and it's kind of crazy. Did you find that this story, once you started pitching it, and everything was coming to fruition, like, did you feel like it resonated with a lot of people?
It, we've started screening it to a bunch of people, like some in the industry, some not in the industry. We screened it specifically. There's this group of friends who are also our valet guys in the live, work, loss where our production
Okay.
company is, and some of them are half in the industry. Like one guy's like a social media star, and then one guy's like completely not, but he has an uncle who is undocumented, but he's not Filipino. He's Venezuelan or Ecuadorian, was it? I think it's from El Salvador. Thanks, bro. And it resonated with them because it's their own story, or a story that the relative went through. So it doesn't matter if it's a Filipino story or not, but for them, it's there's something in it for them that resonated with them. They were very angry at some of the characters in our film. So
The trailer, if y'all have not seen it, it's intense. I mean, like, I feel like just watching the trailer itself is, you feel for the character, you feel how lonely she is, and you see her at the top of this building in LA, and you're like, oh my God, is she gonna jump? It's frightening, and it's a harsh reality, and it's interesting because even online, I've been following Diwa since the beginning, and it's funny because there are haters out there who just don't even believe in immigration. There's like hate messages of, like, this isn't real, or like immigrants need to just leave. And Aina, oh my God, I don't know how she's such a saint. Like, I feel like I would just like clap right back, like, but she's so great about, you're so great about, kind of laying it out and just really hearing what they have to say. And then, can you share like some of the comments that you
well,
made?
the funniest part is they think Diwa is real. I mean, she's real,
Right.
but they thought that
Like
I
she's
was Diwa, and
Like
they
you're an
thought,
actual illegal immigrant
they
making a
thought that
movie.
I was undocumented. So they'd be like, "No, you're just taking away our husbands, and you're just trying to marry our white guys so you can live in this country. Go away." I'm like, no. I'm an American citizen. My name is Aina Dumlao. I am an actor and a filmmaker. This is a story about no, go, like. So that's like one of the more egregious
Wow.
ones, and some of them are like verbatim lifted from Trump's speech about, Mexicans are rapists, criminals, and all that. And I'm like, no. Just because you've heard of one or two stories about undocumented criminals, that's 0.001% of what is actually the truth. And I would give them articles from the FBI, who was supposed to be bipartisan, and they'd be like, "No, I don't like your hate propaganda. No. Just
Yeah,
go
I
back
mean,
to your country." I'm like, I live here right now. I'm Filipino, but I live here right now.
I mean, even that nowadays, it's like just throwing FBI statistics. Even that's not even neutral anymore.
No, not anymore.
No, were you born here in the States, or were you born elsewhere?
I was born in the Philippines.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop,
Yep,
whoop,
yep.
whoop, whoop. And I think I've been here like 6-7 years now. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but born and raised.
Nice.
Pinay.
Oh snap!
Actually, what we can do is we can actually play the trailer for Diwa right now.
Oh.
Yes.
Take a minute. And so here's the trailer for Diwa. You guys check it out.
Where I come from, life is hard. Everyone is poor. We struggle for money, for food to eat. We struggle for happiness. They say America is great. I can be anything. But I came here not for me, for my family. Back home, my father, he's dying. But now, I can't help anymore. This country hates me, and no one wants me here. An immigrant. Illegal. But don't worry, I'm going. And I'm never coming back. Please tell my family I love them.
Please join the cast and crew at the world premiere of Diwa at Dances with Films, June 9th at 5 p.m. at TCL Chinese. Pre-sale tickets are $15 and $18 closer to the date. The film is a hard, realistic look at the plight of immigrants victimized by violent crimes and the obstacles they face, told through the eyes of one victim. The film is in the competition category, meaning they have a shot at an Oscar ticket. So please invite your family, friends, and everyone you know. Your presence will help them out immensely. Tickets can be bought at www.danceswithfilms.com/Diwa.
And we're back. And that was an intense trailer for Diwa, wasn't it? Like, but
Don't do it. Don't jump.
don't worry, she's here. It's okay. It's all just movie magic, guys.
Just call me. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's an intense like trailer. Like you're like, what's gonna happen? But it's like, it's not a spoiler alert, though, right?
I can't. No. I think the teaser that you guys played doesn't have scenes from the actual
No.
short film because we're trying to keep it, fresh and exciting. But it does encapsulate the feeling that
We both have security clearances, so it's okay.
Oh,
You can tell us. You can show us later.
No, I'll tell you guys later.
Yeah, it's great. I look forward to it. But I want to go back to where did you grow up? Like, tell us where you grew up.
What
and
part
where
of the
you're from.
Philippines?
I grew up in Quezon City, Project 6.
Yeah.
Bachelor
Oh,
Village.
Dang.
We got an address, guys.
Yeah, I grew up there. I was raised by a single mom,
Oh.
and she's kind of like my inspiration and one of my number one loves.
Aw.
So she's actually one of our main supporters for Diwa.
It's great.
She's the one who, much to her surprise, like asked every single kababayan,
Yes.
family, friend that she knew, and like, hey, support my daughter. So yeah,
She's gonna get producer, associate producer.
she is a producer.
There you go.
What part of the Philippines are you from?
My family's I grew up where I was born in Quezon City, like
Oh.
in Manila
Oh,
suburb.
there you
but,
go.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no.
Dang.
When did you leave?
No, my family moved here when I was 10 years old. But my family is like from Nueva Ecija or Cabanatuan, which is like, for most Filipino Americans that doesn't mean anything. But like when you tell
I have
like
no idea.
older generation Filipinos, they're like, oh, cool. They exactly know it. That's like the amazing thing about like Filipino immigrants and like the older folks. They're like, yeah, Talens, like, oh, I think I went to school with them. Like they know them.
Do you know a Carlo Talens? I'm sorry, I'm touching you.
Can you get my permission first?
Do you know a Carlo Talens? I went with them in school.
You're being serious?
Yeah.
I can't. Because sometimes
I
people.
don't know a lot of Talenses.
Yeah, all the Talents are pretty much related to each other. Like, what you in the Philippines or here?
Philippines, yeah.
Like-
He was my prom date.
Oh.
Ooh, nothing happened.
I'm not judging. I'm pretty sure in prom in the Philippines, you're still dancing like
Yeah, it's like
shoulder.
the parents are usually present at proms, so no chance for a hanky panky.
G-rated. It's all G-rated, guys.
very-
Well, yeah. No, not. But I'm starting to meet some of them because like some of them are like immigrating here too. Like we're like the first few that immigrated here in the U.S. So, like my aunt was like she married a Navy guy, but a Filipino Navy guy. So I was like, so we were the first ones, but now they're starting to come here, and I'm starting to meet one. I mean, even Phil, I'm creative. Like I met another one, Ledge Talens, and like. He's a lighting guy. He's a gaffer.
Did you swab him for Ancestry.com? Like, hey, so.
Yeah. He's like,
Did you
hey,
show him the
open your
family
mouth."
crest? Did you show him your family crest?
Yeah.
Do you have one?
I don't know if it's legit.
Aw,
I don't know if
you
it's
don't have
legit.
one.
No, because it's like there's one like some like a Spanish guy, like he's like, oh, this is our crest, but like, you know, like I was like, okay, what's the back? I want to know the real. Is this legit? Because they do sell that stuff online, that and some of it's just fake. Like
That's true.
Like, was it like a Sari Manok or something? Like,
no, because like a lot of my family are like specifically from Europe. They traced it back. So, and before that it was Germanic, and then they eventually moved to Spain, and then Spain to Philippines.
What about Dumlao? Where does Dumlao come from? Do you know what it means?
I don't know what it means, but I think it was originally Chinese, and then it was Filipinoized with a dum. I could be making.
So you're originally Alao,
Alao,
and then Dumlao.
But like my mother's side of the family was Spanish.
Okay.
So, you know, and then watered down, and then.
I wonder if it was hyphenated at one point, and then they were just like, let's just put it together, Dumlao.
Dumlao. What about you?
Dela
Stick
Pena is of the Rock, and so I've traced it back to my fourth great grandfather was a Spanish warrior who fought in the Philippines, found, you know, a Filipina, and stayed. But yeah, my family's mostly Visayan, and so. But you know what? My home country is Germany.
Right.
So, I was born in Ludwigsburg, very small place. There's a castle there though. So
Yeah.
Guten Morgen.
Yes. Guten Morgen.
That's all.
Yeah.
Now, when you were growing up, like when you immigrated here, what was the first U.S. city that you arrived in?
I was with an ex, an XXX.
XX. Whoa, let's not make three of them.
That's true. And he was a native of Detroit, Michigan, so that was my first city.
Straight up 8 Mile.
So is Eminem?
I don't know how it is right now. Like if the city has revived, but back then it was like empty and like a lot of, you know, just empty buildings and everything. So I'm like, is this America? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on.
You're like, wait, this is Philippines again in some parts of the Philippines.
But where are the people? So yes, that was like.
Oh, is that desolate? Like
it was desolate. So and then we went to his parents' area, you know, in the suburbs. So it's like, okay, this looks more.
Like how
normal.
America.
Yeah, this is
what I saw in the movies.
Yeah, this is the movie version that I imagined. But yeah, you know, so it was Detroit, the city that I first
that's
went
it.
to.
I think I don't think I've been to Detroit. I've been to Chicago, like up that
I've
area.
been to, have I been to Detroit? Briefly. I think just passing through.
Wow.
But, you know,
To me,
it's
that's
different.
ex-boyfriend.
It's different, just, you know.
So how was the move, like, and then eventually you made it here to LA. Like, how was that move, and like, what did you think of LA when you got here?
I mean, so when we went to Detroit, it was like a direct flight from Cebu to I don't even know how that worked. But then from Detroit, we went to LA after that. And then when I first saw LA, I'm like, okay, so this is the holy grail of what I see in films. You know, but it wasn't until maybe 3-4 years after that I ended up staying here more permanently, because I had a different corporate world before.
Oh, and so like, what got you into acting? Like,
I mean, it's funny. So when like I said, I mentioned that I had a corporate side of me that I have since left behind, but that company invested in a feature film with Andy Dick as the lead. It was something that I didn't want to happen because it was company money, but I'm like, all right, well, it's happening. And when that happened, I became executive producer, but I wasn't an actor. I wasn't a filmmaker.
Okay.
I was kind of just on set overseeing the investment to make sure that it wasn't getting squandered. So that
you were the boss.
I was the boss, but the boss didn't know what she was doing. So there were other people who knew what they were doing.
I mean, it's good to, you know, make sure budget is on target, because I mean, you could blow through,
I mean, so easy.
millions like that, you know.
Luckily, it wasn't that kind of film. It was more like a modified, lower budget kind of film. But it was, you know, our company had like the biggest stake on it. So that's kind of like my first foray into the entertainment industry, but not as an actor.
Did your previous career help you for your role on Ballers? Because I just kept like thinking about,
Yes.
like your character on the show.
I mean, people who saw that and know me in real life, who I really am as a person, mainly my husband, they know how crazy I am in real life. That I can go from 0 to 100 for no reason, just like push my button one time and I could go crazy, I could go insane. So I wouldn't necessarily say my corporate background, although that has its own world of experiences that probably helped inform that role. But no, I'm just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, and just since we didn't say it earlier in the show, like aside from filmmaker, she's an actress and she's been in Ballers, MacGyver, and you were in another show.
Bro, I was on with Hank Azaria and Brockmeyer.
There you go. And
I played a Filipino telenovela star in
Yes!
Brockmeyer.
wow, nice. Perfect. So I was gonna tell, like, you got to on Ballers, like comparing your set like experience on Ballers to, I mean, just being with The Rock and like a fellow Pacific Islander, like your interaction with him, and just how was it? Just
What's he like?
how'd he smell?
Great.
Just kidding.
He smells as good as he looks. Well, what's funny is I think he was in the middle of planning Jumanji or his next 30 other films, and he was always
He's so busy. He's always
so
doing
busy.
something, right?
So busy, and he had like a team of assistants following him around. He was always on phone calls, but then for our scenes, he had like the lion's share of the dialogue. So he's like, okay, when he's not on phone calls, he's like working on his lines and whatever. So it's like he was always kind of on his own, just trying to like probably keep his sanity together. But in our interactions, we had like one specific interaction where he kept sitting on my seat where I was supposed to be. So I'm like, I mean, he's big. I'm barely like 5'1", and he's what, 6'5"
Six
or
giant, I don't know.
Like pure muscle. Right? So he was like sitting, like imagine if you're The Rock and I'm just like standing there. I'm like, okay, we're ready to do one more, and I'm like, excuse me, you're sitting on my seat. I'm like, oh, just tell me to get the fuck out of my seat next time. He's kind of saying it's okay, you can tell me. I'm like, so that was kind of like one of our bigger interactions.
Like, do you address him as like Dwayne, The Rock? Like, what do you?
I think everybody just calls him. I think Dwayne is how he's addressed on set. The big D.
Excuse
Dwayne.
me, Mister.
Sir. Excuse me, sir.
Get out of my seat.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then with MacGyver, like, how was that experience? And like, even when you found out you were gonna be on the show, like,
I mean, it was so fast. I didn't even audition in the room. It was an audition that my husband and I taped at our studio, because what happened was they shot the pilot. For whatever reason, they weren't happy with whatever the pilot was. They threw away everything that was in the pilot except the two leads, which is Lucas Till and George Eads. And then they're like, okay, well, we gotta make something from nothing in the next like 4 weeks. So when I got the audition, it was like on a Friday or something. Then we got the call on a Monday saying, are you available to fly out tomorrow? I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
What is this for again? I'm like, no, you auditioned for MacGyver. I'm like, okay, well, yes. Okay, so we're just waiting for network approval. And then Tuesday morning, literally at 5 a.m, they go and say, okay, you have to fly out like right now.
Oh my gosh.
There wasn't even any time to kind of process it and understand what was happening. And they always say a recurring role. You don't know if it's like one episode or 30. So when they said, okay, this is a recurring role, I'm like, okay, cool. And then I flew out. And then, okay, you come back next week. And then, oh, you come back again. I'm like, oh, so this is a real...
it's a real recurring role.
You guys are lying to me. So, yeah, so that was kind of how I found out.
And do you know if that character was, I mean, they were like, oh, they saw it as an Asian American character, or it was just a non-specific?
It was non-specific, I think. I mean, it was, the name was Andy Lee, but the breakdown said open ethnicity. So I don't know if the Lee was meant to be like, hey, we really had somebody Asian in mind. But it wasn't. It was.
I know, because Lee can go
Could have been
anyway.
British. Yeah, could have been British.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it was just basically open ethnicity. I'm glad it went to me.
Nice. Nah, yeah. And I mean, when you're choosing a role or like what do you look for in like choosing a role when it's offered to you, or even when you see a breakdown or like an audition?
I mean, I'm kind of at a stage in my career where I kind of just take whatever my agents or my managers say, like, okay, so here's your audition, go to it. I'm not at a kind of like at a Julia Roberts level. I'm like, I'm not interested in this one. I'm not interested. I won't do nudity. That's the only thing I won't do. But when I do self-submit, because I still do self-submit to roles, I submit to roles where I feel like I can bring something into it as a human being, or the project is trying to say something that hasn't been said before, trying to say something important, which is what Sansaru, the film, that I played the lead in. It wasn't an audition I got from my agent or from my manager. I submitted to it. I kind of chased the role because I liked the project and I liked what the director did previously. So
yeah, and tell us more about this the Sansaru, what's the concept of that, and if you can talk about it.
Yeah, I think I can. I mean, Sansaru, I think it's like a Japanese term for see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. The three monkeys. Sansaru. I also play a Filipino character.
Okay.
Which is why I was very happy that it's you've met Zai.
Yes.
Yes. Because you're playing in it too, right?
Yes.
She plays
I play
my
the sister
on the phone. Yeah. Zai is super white.
Yes, that was
a surprise.
I heard you, Zai. I just did not expect you. I was like, because I called, right? We met up at AFI to do the voiceover, and Zai was like, "Oh yeah, I'm at the top of the hill," and I was just like,
and there was like one white guy there.
I'm like, who's where? And then he's like starts waving. I'm like, oh, hey. He was really sweet. Yeah.
I mean, Zai, like I said, is white, but just the fact that he wrote a story with a lead who looks like me, a specifically Filipino American story, I think if one out of 1,000 writers, directors, filmmakers who aren't of color did that, then we're making progress. So that's kind of like one of the main things that drew me to that project specifically.
Yeah, and if they write the character as like more three-dimensional instead of like stereotypes and and that's great. Like,
he's from Chicago, right? I believe he's from Chicago or Illinois. I talked to him for a little bit because I had asked him, right, like why Filipinos? What made you? Do you know a lot of Filipinos? And he actually told me he was like scoping you out for a while. Yeah, and he was like, I don't know many Filipino Americans who are in the industry because he's not from LA clearly, but yeah, he was just like searching online and trying to find really strong actresses for the lead role, and Aina was found, and it was really cute. Like he was so happy to have found you, and I was like, dude, there's like a whole there's a whole group of us out here, and so
well, thanks to you guys, the voices, and then just the film creative in general. You guys are kind of giving an audience and a platform for just the Filipino American entertainment people in general to have a voice.
I mean, we do appreciate you, even you just participating with a lot of our members, making films with us. You made a film with Michael Kuya, right?
Yeah.
And it's a great short film that came out last year. Was it Who to Love?
Who to Love. And also Atomic Kids.
That's right.
I know. I was surprised. Yeah, I was like, with Craig, and I was like, whoa, she's doing that post-apocalyptic. And I thought that was great that that even though you're on these shows, Ballers and and MacGyver, that you're coming out and helping and like
and also doing our actors panel too. She just did our actors panel last summer in 2017.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's almost been almost a year now, and
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because there are plenty of our members who see you on TV, see you in short films, and they're all looking forward to seeing you in feature films. So it's great. Yeah.
And I mean, and for the people that's that's starting out, you know, what kind of advice would you like give to, you know, Filipino or Asian American actors, or that's starting out, you know?
It's hard, man. It's being an actor is. I've worn many hats in different industries before, and this is by far the hardest thing I've ever embarked on. You will want to quit every single day. You'll look at yourself in the mirror and think, boy, I'm not talented enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not tall enough, blah, blah, blah. You'll come up with every single excuse to want to quit it, whether you're on day one or day 2001. It doesn't matter. So I think my biggest advice would be find somebody who believes in you to kind of fill in the gaps when you don't believe in yourself. And I have that. So it's like, he's
Nice.
here, somewhere here.
Hey, Brew.
Yeah, there he is.
But I wouldn't be in this industry, period, but I wouldn't be in this industry anymore if I didn't have that. So surround yourself with somebody like that.
Awesome.
I think that's so true, you know, to have that kind of support system to keep things real and also, you know, to kind of push you to go above and beyond what you even think you can do. So that's great.
I think that's just great advice in life general.
Yes.
Like, just
Hashtag
have-
life
People
lessons.
who don't believe in you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just-
that's like Debbie Downer, guys.
As for like acting, like what advice would you have for people who are like starting at like acting schools, or like, you know, this just like how did you choose acting schools? Did you go to acting schools, you know, when you came here?
Obviously, like in terms of like commercial work, you know, there's just commercials are more technical. So I went to Killian's commercial workshop, which is kind of like among all of our friends. I have a lot of friends who work commercially a lot. Like literally, that's how they pay their bills.
I mean, commercials pay big money.
Oh, yes.
That residual pay is worth it.
So
guys.
I did Killian's because that just teaches you the do's and don'ts.
Okay.
It's like, okay, so when they say your mark, this is what they mean. You know, kind of just like an idiot's guide, a 101 kind of thing. But when it comes to theatrical acting, upon the advice of Brew, I took up a Meisner class, you know, like a Meisner intensive, because it just strips you down almost as a human being and kind of just teaches you how to listen, how to react. If you don't have that in you yet as an actor, you know, listening is 90% of the work, and kind of that's what Meisner teaches you to do. But I didn't finish that. I won't go into details, but I only did probably like 25% of the class, and then I left, but I never took a class.
Well, clearly, everything you've done has helped you, you know, whether it's life experience or,
Yes.
you know, official training and all that. I mean, my goodness, you're doing it, girl.
Yeah,
We're so
trying.
proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, because I think the hardest part for people starting out even is just finding the right school, or even like not getting taken advantage of when they're doing stuff like
I
that.
really believe Meisner classes are, you know, especially for actors without prior training or prior experience. You know, Playhouse West is one of them, and, you know, Barron Brown all the way in Santa Monica if you live on that other side of town. Those are things that starting actors should look out for. You know,
Yeah.
always audit a class and see if it's right for you.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I am a fan of like improv acting too. Like I've gone to UCB, but I think even UCB or Groundlings or any improv schools, I think is great training.
For any actor at any stage, improv is amazing.
And so like I'm just wondering, influences for you, like growing up, who were your acting influences?
Ooh, growing up, Nora Honor. Do you guys know who Nora
Oh
Honor
wow,
is?
yeah.
Just the fact that she looked different than everybody else. You know, I don't know if you guys are completely aware of how it is in the Philippines.
She's for all of you guys watching that's not aware, if Nora Honor is a Filipina actress, like
darker skin.
yeah. I mean, but she was who would be the American equivalent of Nora Honor?
I would say like a Viola
Davis.
in terms of like intensity and kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, or I mean, but popularity. It was like Meryl,
Yes.
Viola Davis now, but like Meryl, I feel like almost
Meryl
Meryl
of back
Streep
then.
of like Philippine
Right.
acting. So she was a big Filipino actress back in, well, she is now, or in 80s, 90s. She had a long career though.
Yeah, I don't know what she's doing right now.
Yeah.
But back then, you know, my dad was obsessed with her, and I was always confused. I'm like, oh, but she didn't look like anybody else back then, because in the Philippines, even until now, it's
So
like
different.
mestizas, half something, half chinita, half
Yeah, it's
whatever.
like there's a
Use that Escanol.
Yeah. Yes.
So bad.
Double editing.
there was always this like what they call now is colorism, right? A lot more light-skinned Filipinos get to be on TV, and it's getting better now in the Philippines
I
even.
think so.
Yeah.
I think
But I
so.
mean, it happens in Latin America and even in Africa,
Here.
in here.
It's getting better.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. We're trying to make it even more better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And okay, wow.
But just because my dad was obsessed with her, and just kind of like as a little girl drew me to her, I'm like, oh, she looks different. Oh, she kind of looks a little bit like me. She's on the darker side, you know. But then I realized, like, out of everybody, her acting was just so natural and deep. And she's just a fantastic actress. I'm sure she still is. But back then, that was like, oh, wow.
Now, have you had an opportunity or been approached to do films in the Philippines?
No, but I'm friends with Arnold Reyes. He's like
Oh,
a
yeah.
indie actor in the Philippines, and we're approaching him for the feature film
Oh,
version
cool.
of Diwa.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, you want me to introduce you to Boy Abunda?" I'm like, "Boy Abunda? Yeah, he's my manager." I'm like, "Oh." But you know, I never revisited that conversation. It's an interesting thought. I don't know how.
When was the
I
last
do
time
that.
you were back in the Philippines?
Oh, like 3 years, 4 years. It's been a while.
Would you want to film in the Philippines?
Diwa is set, like 40% of it is set.
Because
in the
you
Philippines.
had some shots from in the Philippines, right?
That wasn't shot for Diwa, but that was just Brew shooting footage in the Philippines when we were there, like a
Good
couple years ago.
Nice.
But it worked out, so it made it 10 times more amazing.
Yeah, pro tip. I actually do that. Like when I travel, I just like shoot random B-roll footage. So if any of you filmmakers like to travel,
Always,
I'd recommend
always.
doing that.
You have no excuse now. Every phone shoots amazing
Yeah.
footage.
So, what is your favorite Filipino food?
My favorite Filipino food is pancit palabok.
Ooh.
I
Good
don't know how
call.
to make it. I tried before.
It's
but I failed.
it's tough.
gotta
It's
get the
hard. It's
packet.
hard. It's a process. What would you say is your favorite Filipino food spot here?
Lasa is my favorite.
I have yet to go.
Lasa, it's
Lasa's
super
fine
close
dining.
here. They have like a lunch special of like $10, but it's like big bowls, like there's lechon kawali, adobo, and like stuff like that, and it's amazing. $10.
Ooh.
Nice.
I'm
I'll have
not
to
being
check
paid
that
for saying that. I just really like it.
I've yet to go there yet.
We shot Who to Love there.
Oh, did you?
Oh, that's
I did not know
right.
that.
Yes, I heard that. Cool.
Lasa.
You want to go, Walter?
yeah, we'll have to check
You want
it
to
out
take
now.
me
Yeah,
out?
yeah, let's
I'll
go.
take
Let's
you
do it.
out. I'll
Yeah.
take you out.
Wait.
It's modern days. Women pay now, like right? Like,
Whoa.
Yeah.
What kind of date are you?
I'm a cheap one.
Clearly.
Cheap date.
That's
Oh, wait,
okay.
I think that's a different meaning, right? Just kidding.
Very different.
What is
Crickets.
yeah. Well, don't judge me.
That's rule number one.
mind.
Rule number one, no judgment. No worries.
Currently, are you ingesting, or what's your favorite book or movie that you're ingesting right now or binging on?
What was the last movie? Oh, Mozart in the Jungle. I don't know if you
Oh,
guys
yeah,
know
I
of
know
it. Gail Bernal, Lola Kirk, Thomas Pembridge. It's just a tour de force of acting. It's on Amazon right now. It's just, there's so much sadness and darkness in news today that a lot of times it's reflected in the films that we see, you know, and the shows that are out there. But Mozart in the Jungle is just a ray of positivity and light.
Oh.
It just,
Wow.
it just makes
I
us
wanna
happy.
watch it,
But It's on
yeah.
Amazon. So,
Oh, man.
yeah. And in terms of books, I'm reading Angels on the Underground. It's a story about 4 women. One of them is Filipino, but 4 women who made a difference in World War II.
Oh.
So it's set in the Philippines. So
it's about the resistance fighters.
about the resistance fighters, like unknown stories about these 4 women. One of them is a Filipina who's a journalist who became a guerrilla fighter.
Oh, cool.
So,
Which is why it goes back to what we were talking about, like Kabanatuan and Wawisia, and then like just because when people don't know it, but they know it before, like the Bataan Death March or Corregidor,
Right.
like because they had. And the Japanese had internment camps there for the U.S. soldiers afterwards,
Right.
so that's how they know it. And the locals helped people, and even like release some of them, like the movie The Great Great Escape or something like that, The Great Raid.
like they help with the resistance.
They help with the resistance or help feed the U.S. soldiers, the special forces and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So. So when you tell them that, like people are like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I know where that is," or I've heard of it.
No, I mean, I'm sure, in the back of my mind I know, but yeah, Cabanatuan.
Yeah, I mean, it's great even going back there and like seeing the old forts. Like next time you go to the Philippines, just check it out. They have like the old island bases, the giant cannons that they used to use to defend Philippines. It's crazy.
I'm gonna go to Corregidor because that was supposed to be like the first line of defense in the strong. Like there's like an underground network of hospitals and transportation.
There is this giant. It's like it's an island or something, and in the middle is this giant cannon, like 200 feet barrel or something like that. It's huge.
Is it supposed to take down
gigantic
a ship?
concrete? Yeah.
Dang, that is huge.
But it was
It's crazy.
before. It was like designed in World War One, but then in World War II, they like the ships are faster and they had airplanes,
Right.
and they're like, and then became useless. It's like you can't shoot an airplane with this
Right.
thing.
I had to do like it was like a 20-page paper on a military battle, and I chose like the smaller battle that happened before Bataan, and it's insane because like if we had lost that battle, it would have been way worse. It's fascinating. So I hope that there's more films that are made to tell these stories, because growing up in the States, when I was in history class in Texas in high school, Bataan was like 2 paragraphs. like we didn't. I mean, like literally, like you don't learn much about Philippines history. Maybe it's different in LA. I don't know, but at least in Texas, where I
in
was at.
California, it was like when we studied history, it was kind of like 1 page too, or like. I think we spent
Minimal.
a week or maybe less than a week in like world history or like just other people's stories.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of. Wonder Woman is an amazing film, but there's like real life Wonder Women and Wonder Man.
Yes.
In real figures.
History,
in history like that. So, we're trying to come up with these stories, and
And I think that's why it's important for like Filipino Americans or people of color to learn your history and write stories, learn how to write stories, because like actresses or actors of color like can't act unless we create content, unless we write, we make things. So it's for you guys watching, that's very important. And Aina here is creating content too. She's not just an actor, she's a filmmaker. You're writing, producing things.
control your destiny, guys.
Yes.
No, as you said that, I was thinking of like Brad Pitt and Troy, like, take it, it's yours.
It's true.
I mean, because content-wise, it's because like black filmmakers did that. Like they created content, and it's still a struggle for.
Get Out, Black Panther.
Oh my God, Black Panther! I finally watched it, guys.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my
What?
gosh, it's so amazing. It's I took my 4-year-old. Like, I think for 4-year-olds, it's a
little bit too much.
I think so. He was just like, "What's good?" He was like, "That's a bad guy." I was like,
Was it too complex for probably to?
I think so. He's much more into like Lego movies and
Coco.
cartoons. Loves Coco for sure. But Black Panther, man, the costumes were amazing. The storylines were amazing. I mean, it was beautiful.
I just,
Beautiful movie.
as a Bay Area native, like having Oakland featured, and Ryan Coogler's from Oakland, so it's like that's why he did it. And I was like,
Every
that's
time he
awesome.
mentions it, never fails. Every time.
Interviews and all that.
No, Walter
Oh.
Talens.
Oh.
Every time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you know, for all the Bay Area viewers.
So how can people find you? How can they find you social media wise,
My
websites?
addresses. No. I have a website which I'm not really updating. I mean, it's linked to my social media accounts. It's just my name, ainadumlao.com, and all my social media handles are my name. It's just Aina Dumlao.
Okay, how about Diwa? Does it have a?
Oh, Diwa is my name is Diwa. So Twitter / my name is Diwa. Website is mynamesdiwa.com.
Any future projects? Like, what do you see yourself doing in, like, you know, in the next 3 or 5 years? Like, where do you want to be?
I mean, because of Diwa, we've submitted to several diversity directing programs and a bunch of those things. So we haven't heard from them yet because they're still in the judging process. So we're hoping that that will get me into a bunch of female directing programs so I can direct TV and film and then do that with Brew as well. But we have like a couple of projects that we're working on right now, which we can't speak of, but those have diversity, people of color, Filipino Americans at the heart of it as well. So hopefully I can talk about those things more soon. Maybe in another interview.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
keep us updated.
Yeah, and I really hope you come back and talk to us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
No,
Oh,
thank you for coming here.
I
You're
love the
great.
background. Who made this?
We were like Noah's Ark.
It's a team effort.
Everybody on the Voices team, we like literally like chopped wood and
Literally.
Well,
we made it. Yeah,
and special shout out to your friend.
Special shout out to Alberto La Pena. Thank you so much for being our woodcutting guy.
There you go. And so, yeah, I just want to say thank you for coming to Voices. It was a pleasure having you here. Everyone, this is Aina Dumlao. This
Salamat.
Arlyn de La Pena.
or AKA Arlyn from the Rock. Or the
Arlyn
Cliff
of the Rock.
of the Rock.
Of the Rock. Of the Rock.
And I'm Walter Talens. Thanking you guys for coming out here and watching us. We appreciate you. This is Philam Creative Podcast, Voices. Voices.
So creepy.